Hey guys, in this video we're going to be migrating VMware VM over to Proxmox via shared storage. Shared storage can be anything from iSCSI, fiber, NFS, and even a spare disk. So let's go ahead and shut down this VM. And while we're waiting on that to shut down, we're going to head over to Proxmox and just create a new VM for this. Anytime you're migrating a VM, you want to make sure you've got the IP configuration, such as the IP address, obviously, the subnet, the gateway, DNS, and you also want to gather the MAC address, just in case anything was tied to the MAC. So I'm going to call this test AD. Next. OS, this is just if you want to boot off a disk for virtualizing, so don't use anything. System. Windows on Proxmox, you want to select Q35. SCSI controller, you want to select as VMware Paravirtual SCSI. Since this is server 2022, I'm going to select UEFI. And whenever you select that, it wants you to select create a UEFI disk. So I'm just going to select my storage. This is not the disk that's going to come over. This is just what Proxmox uses to boot off of for UEFI. You hit next. We're going to be importing our disk over from the other host, so we don't need this disk. I'm going to hit next. CPU, I'm just going to do 2 and 2. Again, this is just a test system, so 4096. Network, since this was a VMware VM, normally I'd say if you're creating a VM, a Windows VM in Proxmox, go paravirtualize, but since we're pulling this over from VMware, we just want it to work. So VM next 3, confirm. And while we're waiting, I'm already in my NFS share on my server. If I do an ls-al, see my VMDK there. And we're just going to import it into our new VM in Proxmox. In Proxmox, you want to make sure you've got the ID of yours. So 125 is test AD that I just created. This command is going to be in the show notes. 125 is what matches up with my new system. NFS is the data store where it's going. And format, you can do QCOW2, that's preferred. You can even do VMDK. You can leave it as a VMDK file. Or you can do raw. Think of raw as like thick provisioning in VMware. And both QCOW2 and VMDK would be considered thin provisioning. I'm going to go with the best one for Proxmox. Again, VMDK would work too, but I'm going to hit enter for this command. And this is going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the video here. And I'll be back when it's done. Okay, as you can see, the import completed. So I'm going to go back to the VM we created. And there's an unused disk. This is the disk we just imported. So I'm just going to click Edit and Add. Next thing we have to do is go to Options, because when we created this VM, it wasn't listed for the boot order. So we're going to add it in. Going to get rid of booting off the network, and we can leave the ISO there or the CD-ROM there just in case. Hit OK. We're going to go over to the console and just start this. This stuff up here is normal. Any day now, Windows. Okay, Windows is started up. So we're going to go here, send the Control-Alt-Delete keys, and we're just going to make it full screen for now. Oops. I'm going to minimize this now. So I'm going to show you Proxmox equivalent to VMware tools. I'll leave a link for that in the description. So I'm just going to go to Hardware, go to CD-ROM, edit it, and I'm going to use an ISO, and I'm going to choose the Virtio IO Win. And I'll leave a download link where you can grab that. So let's go back to the console. Once again, I'm going to make it full screen. Helps if I click the right button. Okay, and here you're going to see a few things. First, we're going to load the drivers. Let that install. Next, we're going to do the guest agent. If I minimize the VM, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if I click on this and go to the summary, it doesn't show the IP information yet. So if I go back to console, and I'm going to install the ones, this is going to get it to show the IP information if you want that to show up. And it looks like that's already installed. So if I go to summary, it's still not showing. That's because we have to go to options and enable this guest agent. And it won't show until we reboot this VM. So let's go back to the console. And reboot it. We probably could have just restarted the service, but we're just going to reboot it. As you can see, it's pretty quick. I really like Proxmox. I believe it is enterprise ready. I've been using Proxmox over 2 years now, and it's really robust. I'm going to go ahead and log in. So click here, click there for Control Alt Delete. We go full screen and to minimize that stuff. We'll go to command, just make sure our network's working. And we're good to go. And guys, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how bad I'm doing. Thanks. I appreciate it.